Each district facility is a home for hundreds and thousands of district purchase items used to fulfill the ultimate goal to educate and equip students of Mesquite. With the funds coming from multiple public sources, each facility owner is responsible for oversight that the items are secured, used as designed, and tracked accurately in district-maintained systems. If each site leader is only thinking about their inventory once a year, it makes an efficient quality process even more challenging. Let's pull back the curtain on what some of the whys and a lot of the hows to help you feel more prepared and confident in your role of administrator over assets.
Hello, I'm Vicki Stafford, the manager of fixed assets for Mesquite ISD. If you haven't met me or one of my staff, we are looking forward to being in a working meeting with you soon or coming to your location to work with you on effective management of your assets. First, to set the foundation of our discussion, we are required by our Board of Trustees and the State of Texas to annually validate assets purchased for use in our facilities and where they should be. Your building is a part of this required annual review. Each MISD employee is bound to protecting district assets and fulfill their validation of record keeping, which includes an accurate accounting for inventory. We rely on you to take ownership of the data. And if you are unsure what we're asking, please reach out to us. A major reason for this video is to show you how the assets are tracked and how you can keep the data accurate. We will mention the role of system principal a lot during this video, but if you are the leader for inventory in a support department, these instructions are meant for you. We want to work together. Let's talk about the core system Mesquite ISD is using for our assets. It is what we call our system of record. It is Munis. When coming into your role as the local fixed asset contact for your building, your manager or principal should request the fixed asset profile for you from the Information Services team. To see the basic layout of assets, let's go through a few screens. You can perform some updates on these screens as well as research and run reports. Munis has a lot of data, but for you, start with financials, then select capital assets, followed by capital assets processing. There are two particular selections here. Adjustments in retirement is for all assets purchased prior to the current school year. New assets are for this year's purchases. We're going to select adjustments in retirement. This first screen you will find helpful. It shows the historical data for a booked asset. The asset number is top left. This number is unique to Munis and should not be confused with the E-tag or T-tag. The field for electronic tag numbers is tag number. The class is based on the value and useful life of an asset. Subclass further defines the type of items into categories. Descriptions and serial numbers are here. Location is the 3-digit organization code, such as 101 here for Black Elementary. Room is a maximum 5-digit reference, which can be supplemented by using the location memo field above it to help describe more specifics on location, such as a specific custodial closet or an office. Manufacturer and model are also shown here, though these are not required fields. Assistant principals who perform the inventory work and log into this Munis screen can investigate and run reports on any or all assets at their location. While we will talk about the annual inventory process in a moment, you may want to run an occasional report during the year for a particular classroom or type of item on your campus. First, hit the search button in the upper left to open fields for search criteria. If you are wanting only active assets, choose the drop-down in the status field. Active simply means that unless the campus or department has had the item removed from your location, it is still active. For this sample, we will still use Hodges Elementary, Organization 105, for the location. Next, For the room number, enter the room number in the room field and hit accept. Since most room numbers are 3 digits, Mesquite ISD chose to place CF as the first 2 characters in the 5-character field. This brings back everything with that exact match of room. Given the manner rooms were named, you may not get the information you want. To try and enter only part of the room number, like 101 here, first enter an asterisk, then the characters in capital letters if they are alpha characters, and then the asterisk at the end. This search produces a screen for each item. The count is shown here. See the lower left corner. If you choose the Financial Screen tab, here in the middle of the screen, you can see the purchase dates and the amounts. The oldest item that matches the search is shown first, and newer ones are found as you toggle through the items. You may have a new teacher in a room or need someone to inventory a particular type of item. Each staff member must have an accurate record for the resources in their oversight. Most teachers focus on student technology devices, which is a good focal point, but funds spent on any asset under our charge should be accounted for. To run an Excel report on the search results, choose the Excel icon in the top toolbar. Select the data field you want, and then the report will run and drop to the lower left corner of the Munis screen. It is highly encouraged that any report for inventory, including the annual report from our fixed assets departments, be saved as a Google Sheet for updating and sharing visibility with your staff. Example of report searches you may wish to run are assets with no room numbers or with old or inaccurate room locations so that the item records can be updated. Use the toolbar selection Audit History. You can sort by the date, the field change, or user ID. If you can't find the asset in the current listed room, you can look at its history. The audit history allows you to potentially see where an item was located prior to its current field value, when it was changed, and who changed it. Should you find the need to update the confirmed location of an item at your location, select the Change Location icon in the toolbar. You will see the location memo. Floor and room number fields are now available for updating. Location memo is a 25-character field that can be used to help clarify the location of an asset or description information. Update the room field with a consistently used room reference. Be as specific as you can because others will rely on the information in years to come. Now that you have a few tools to navigate your asset data, so what are the steps that are needed to do each year to keep your asset records? Here's a basic outline of the school year for inventory tasks. Schools and district departments nearly always have operational and personnel changes and equipment, furniture, and supplies moved around the building. During the summer, new equipment may come into a facility and older items may be retired or removed. Often, campuses and facilities create a graveyard for unwanted items. If this is a staging area for warehouse pickup and the proper form is used, this is proper practice. However, campus leadership should not allow items to simply be removed from a room to an area where others can just show up and take an item. If the item is on a room's inventory list, it should be documented when removed. To have unneeded items removed from campus, complete the asset retirement form as shown here. Create a work order in Munis with the warehouse for pickup. The form should be scanned into the work order. As an assistant principal, you have access to your assets in Munis, and reasonable efforts to put the asset number from Munis on the form for the items being removed is essential to update your records. Place a copy of the form on the items to be picked up. Keep a copy of the form in a location for your reference to update Munis records. For electronic items to be retired, it's the same process, though you will need access to the asset in the Destiny system and change the status to retired, and then save the change. The fixed assets team will then use the asset retirement form to ultimately retire these items in Munis. New items coming onto your campus will be listed in the new assets screen of Munis. This screen looks identical to adjustments and retirements. It may take a number of weeks from delivery to the campus for the asset to show up in your database in Munis. The purchase process and materiality of the items will determine if it will show up on your required inventory validation report. There are a few down moments in campuses or departments to find an ideal place for inventory, but APs can reduce the load on staff. Plan to have a meeting or at least a notice to let staff know that fall is now the designated time for inventory and that the official inventory using Munis data is for items that were purchased with a value of $1,000 or more and have a useful life beyond 1 year. As shown earlier in the video, run a Munis list for active assets and do sampling on the items you made changes on or you advise the fixed assets team to change or retire. Here's the file you will get from the fixed assets team. When you receive it, create a shared document such as a Google Sheet so updates made by your campus staff can all be on a single document. The file will be emailed to you with instructions as followed. You may wish to pause this video and read through these instructions, especially if it's your first year doing inventory. The file is sorted by room number, and you may notice that in column G, for this campus, there are several items with no room assignments in Munis, or the value is simply a dot. This may be due to the campus or the purchasing department did not include a room assignment on the purchase order. The fixed asset team needs this information to act on when entering the asset into Munis. We should not have any major assets with no known location. Use the item description, data purchase, and the audit history in Munis that we already reviewed to ultimately find the current location of the item and update the room location in Munis. It may be a value to sort these no location items by the purchase date and work on the more recently purchased items first, as they should be the easiest and quickest to locate. Often, a Munis asset is a group asset. Column N shows how many of the items were originally purchased. The inventory reviewer should find the quantity of the item and update the location. In the change field, if the quantity is different than in the system, place in the change column how many are in the room that you just updated in Munis. You will want your campus secretary to assist you if the description of the asset is not helpful in identifying what the item is. The secretary can pull the purchase order and the invoice should have more detail on the purchase. Doing a web search based on a model or manufacturer for a picture of the item may work also. Some items of the inventory are older and your office may have records on what happened to them. Go to your previous campus inventory to research. That being said, save each year's inventory change file in a shared drive for the campus records and ensure your principal and secretary know where it is. An older item may have been on a surplus form, so check these records with the campus secretary. When meeting with your staff before they take the inventory, have a process that color codes items green if found with no changes and some other color if a change is warranted. Have them use the change field column data, but do not overwrite the field in the file, but put comments in the change field. This will instruct the fixed asset team what you wish to have updated, such as the quantity, the active or retired status, changes to description or category. Depending on the size of your campus, the assistant principal may wish to engage several team members to manage certain types of asset in the inventory. Fine arts, CTE, and athletics may want a team lead over these rooms, while the lead AP can manage general campus areas and offices and having all other teachers do their own rooms on a particular day. As assistant principal, any items that the staff says have moved location is an alert to you how and why it was moved. If you agree upon the move, you can make the change in munis for the room field. If the item was moved without notice to you, this is a control point for you to work on with your staff on getting approvals on moving major items before they are relocated. Put on your calendar a checkpoint for you that is 90 to 120 days from the time you submit changes that you go back into munis for those items you asked for changes on and confirm your updates have been made. If they have not, call or email the Fixed Assets Department and they will give you a status of work or what additional research they may be performing. Items not located on the campus but still showing active in munis are on the campus but are not in the location as recorded, are not on the campus but may be at a different location within MISD, borrowed or lent to another group, have been sold or disposed of through the MISD process but have not been cleared by the fixed assets team, have been taken or disposed of without regard to the tracking process, which may include theft. There will be assets that you will need to continue to pursue to locate even after you have submitted a request to have them retired. A possible stolen item will need documentation as a police report can be filed. Provide fixed asset team with as much detail as possible on items that cannot be found, and don't dismiss making notice to all staff of what items are being sought out. If a teacher is retiring or otherwise leaving a classroom, an exit inventory is an excellent way to ensure the history of that room's asset is known for the new teacher. Run a munis report near year end and do a walkthrough with them to detail asset status so the new teacher in the classroom doesn't inherit missing assets with little clue to their history. Some teams keep alternative tracking on some items such as fine arts on CHARM system and CTE on their Excel tracking sheets. Their tracking may be helpful for Munis update. However, Munis is the asset system of records since it is our formal accounting system and drives our financial records with external auditors. Efforts in keeping Munis updated are essential. Viewing inventory as one painful event each year is what we're trying to move away from. You are the eyes of the district on your assets, and with some of the tools and approaches we have described, this will give you the process that throughout the year will keep the asset tracking up to date. Thank you.